At long last, the sun is out. It has been nothing but overcast for days on end. And it rained, it sort of, kind of a misty rain the entire time, kept everything soaking wet. So I think what I'll do here today, I'm going to let it dry out a little bit in the sun. We're going to go ahead and scratch around in there and see if we can't find some taters. Right now I got to go back out and work on the old juke. It is time to eliminate some more nicotine buildup. Look at that. Unbelievable. Thankfully I've got the old Clorox. That'll take care of a lot of it. You'll be surprised. It just really does do a job on that stuff. I'm just going to soak it on down there and just let her sit in for, I don't know, a long time. And then we'll wash it off. Years ago I had a brush like this. And it got worn out. It works great for your hubcaps, you know, your sunk in spots on your wheels and things like that. Works really good. You really work, and the bristles are fairly soft. They're not. Of course, the one I had years ago, it wasn't just plastic stuff. It was some other kind of a fiber-like material. I think it was like made out of straw or hog's hair or something like that. But I went downtown, I guess a week and a half ago, looking specifically for this one, and I found it. Although, like I said, it's not. This one's plastic, so what we're going to do is use it to scrub this kind of stuff. It really does a really good job. See how it's turning it white already? Really does a good job. You don't have to worry about cutting your hands, and the bristles are long enough to get down in there. Let me finish scrubbing this and the plastic, clear plastic, which is a kind of diffuser, I think, and we'll go ahead and scrub all that. Look how much nicotine's on that over there. Is that amazing? Look at that. That's tar right there. Wow. Alright, those are ready to be rinsed off, both the glass. Now over here, I started already. I'm going to get this out of the sun so you can see. This is the kind of brush you need for this sort of thing. Instead of having to reach down there with your fingers trying to clean everything, you just get down there. Look what it did to that spot that was all black with all that tar. And I'll tell you what, you cannot beat this. This is a great, great brush to have for many things around the house, not just this sort of thing. And you get them at Walmart over in the automotive section, and they're really cheap. Alright, everything's been scrubbed enough, I think, although it didn't do much on this side. This side here is a little bit of rust, a little bit of stuff like that. I'm debating what to do with that. I'm not going to paint it. I was thinking about maybe shining it up the best I can with that steel wool and the mothers and whatever else I can find that might work, and then put a clear coat over the entire thing. I don't know. That might work, it might not. The thing you have to remember about clear coats is they don't last forever. They start flaking. When they start flaking off, then you got all kinds of, not necessarily you, the next guy down the line, he's got to contend with all that. So sometimes it's better just to leave it well enough alone. All right, let me go ahead and rinse this off. By the way, I got a comment the other day from, I'm a junk collector, and he said, John, he said, that thing you're working on there, that old juke, he said, even if it doesn't play, when you're all done, it doesn't work. It sure is going to be a pretty looking one. Of course I wrote back and said, hey, no negative vibes, but he's got a point there. However, this thing will play. It will play. We worry about nothing like that. I mean, I'm not going to go into this thing and spend all this time. Well, I haven't spent a whole lot of money, except on the cost of the jukebox itself. But I spent an awful lot of time. You're darn right that thing's going to play when we get done. I don't care how long it takes. I just spent a little bit of quality time with a hammer tapping out the dents here. Just tappy, tappy, tappy. Very, very light taps. And I was actually able to get that thing flat. That's flat as can be now. How about that? Of course, there may be a little ripple here and there, but compared to what it was, that's in really good shape now. Alright, first thing we have to do is de-rust it. Then I'm going to put the paint stripper on it. We're going to strip all this down. We're going to paint this baby up and make it look halfway decent. These little clips all have to come off and be thrown in the evapor-rust. Let's take a look at how our stuff turned out. We stuck in evapor-rust a couple days ago. That's looking really nice. The rust is all gone. I'll tell you what, you just throw it in there and just let it rest. You don't have to do a thing. So we'll go ahead and coat that with some clear coat today after I wash it all off. Get that back in the jukebox. Let's get these babies off of here. They just come off. We'll throw them in, let them soak for a day or two. I'm not even going to think about them. I'm just going to reach in there when I think about it and say, oh, I remember those. We put those in there a couple days ago. Here's the way we're going to do that old rust remover. I've got it in the garage here sitting on a table. A couple towels underneath. I'm just going to go ahead and start pouring it in there and just smear it around. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to smear it around. The more smear, the better. We'll cover the whole thing. I'll go in the house, have me a cup of coffee, and drop a little down there. We'll get that picked up. But I'm going to really saturate this. I may have to wind up going downtown later and getting another bottle of this navel jelly. It's I've used that same bottle for quite a while. It's starting to get pretty low. While that black piece of metal back there that had the dents in it is soaking in the navel jelly, we're going to go ahead and start in earnest cleaning this thing right here. I'm going to go ahead and use the steel wool, the heavy, thick steel wool. And I'm going to use Brasso. It says this is the new modern Brasso, not the best in the world. But they won't allow them to put certain ingredients in it anymore. Anyway, this thing supposedly cleans brass, copper, stainless, chrome, aluminum, pewter, bronze. I mean, what more do I need? I'm just going to go ahead and scrub a dub-dub. And when we're done, now of course I've already got the chrome on the edge. That's looking really good there. Chrome's looking pretty good. Even though it's pitted. But it's a lot better than it was. Now we'll just hopefully we can get the front to where it looks really nice. Well, that's it. I've scrubbed as best I can on this thing and cleaned it up. And I'm going to go ahead and wipe her down, take her outside and wash it off, and what we have when we're done is what we're going to have to live with. But it looks a whole lot better. I might scrub a little bit more on this Seeburg, make that chrome up a little. I kind of like that idea there. Look at that. I didn't expect that to be chrome under there. Once again, we'll call on our Clorox spray and our little handy brush here. We've got this thing cleaned off as much as I could with paper towel. It didn't help very much. Paper towels just don't do the job when you're looking for something really to be removed. Yeah, that loosened it up pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and spray our little brushy brush. She's cleaning up pretty good. I'll take it over to the hose here in a few minutes. We'll wash it off and find out what we have to live with. That's it. That's it. That's it. I am done cleaning the front of this thing. The back has been washed out again. We'll just let it dry overnight, and hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to put that back on after it's been painted. I may have to wait another day. But she looks a whole lot better than she did, I think. At least it's not all dingy and dark and shaded in different areas. A couple of spots over in here, but I've done everything I can on it. Tell you what, while we've got the bleach out and the brush, why not go ahead and clean a couple of more items as well. Use every minute I can. The cold weather gets colder every day. Pretty soon I'll be out here freezing my tush off, trying to get this stuff cleaned up. I want to get as much of it done as I can. Hopefully I can finish it all up. I'd like to get it all done by the beginning of next week, as far as cleaning and painting goes. Now this little baby, this little aluminum bar, is one of the most important items on this entire jukebox. Because down in here is where those little copper pivot points sit that the push buttons rotate on, up and down. And they left an imprint in there over the years from having been done up and down a whole lot, you know. Again, hopefully when I wash this thing, all of that won't disappear. So that's why I'm filming it now. I'm going to do a complete close-up of this thing from one end to the other. Here's the other set of buttons over here. Then we'll go ahead and give it a wash, a light wash, and see what happens. I'm not going to really scrub hard on this. I think this is going to be a real problem. Then again, there are no problems. Well, that thing that had the dents in it's been soaking in navel jelly all day. So let's take it on over there. I've got it soaked on the back over here. Let's take it over there and wash it down with a hose, see what it looks like. Well, how about that? Once the ruster's removed, it was chrome underneath. Not the same for over here, I don't think. But it doesn't matter. Tomorrow we're going to strip all this paint off of here and give this one more soaking, especially on the inside. There's still some stuff on the inside that needs to be soaked off. That was a surprise to me. I did not expect that at all. I loaded up a whole bunch more of apple rust in the old lunch bucket. Dropped a couple of pieces down in there that we need to soak at least overnight, maybe all day tomorrow. I don't know. It all depends what it looks like later. We're good to go on that because I am pooped. It's been a long day. We did a lot of stuff. And this is going to be one of those long videos. You know, every once in a while we got to have like this really long one if I plan to get this stuff done. So I think tonight I'll just watch a movie. We will see you in the morning. Well, it is the next day, and I am bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I just got back from downtown. I went, had to buy some more of that navel jelly. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at our evaporush and see how the pieces we put in yesterday are doing. That's pretty darn good there. I don't see any rust at all. As usual, the old navel jelly is doing the job. I like that. That looks real good. Even that piece right there, which was really rusty. How about that? What's the backside look like? Pretty darn good. Alright, what we have to do now, this is the cash box. Now the cash box unfortunately has a label on it, and it has this other big label on it. But the real unfortunate mess is that it is totally rusty on the inside. I cannot. So what has to go? The labels or the rust? Well, I'll tell you what, guys. They both got to go. Let's get real about this, okay? I'm going to let that soak down in there halfway one way for a day or so, and then we're going to flip it around the other way. And maybe I tried to scan those things. That one big one on the side here, there's a lip right here on the edge, and it won't sit flat on the scanner, on my printer scanner. I could have maybe done this one here, but I'm not really that interested. I'll look around on the internet. Maybe there'll be some available on eBay or something. I don't know. I don't plan to use the cash box anyway, so it's not that big a deal. Well, let's get back out to the old shop. I am at a stopping point here because I don't know how this stuff goes together. It turns out that these ridges, these marks in that aluminum bar, were not made by these copper things right here. Those marks were made by the points on these push buttons. So that brings up the question, what do I do with the? I know they came out of there. Now I've tried everything I can do to fit those things down in this way. I've tried this way. I've tried everything I can do, and they just won't work. And I'm thinking, they couldn't have made it this difficult and tedious and time consuming at the factory. It just wouldn't have been conducive to, manufacturing speed. So how do I do it? Well, if it won't fit in there, think the opposite. It must have to go in here. Now I'm going to fill this channel with some grease all the way down. And then I'm going to take this thing, and notice this thing has a flat side and a round side. That's what the round side looks like. And once I get the grease in there, a nice layer of grease, I'm going to stick this baby down into it with the flat side up. And it would seem to me that's the way that thing has to go. And we'll put them all the way down like that. Now if I'm wrong, I need somebody to tell me, because I'm going to leave it like that. And apparently the only thing that hits on these copper things is not the two outside out here, it's the two center. Let me see if I can get down there a little better. Yeah, it's only the two centers that hit it, not the two outside. So I need to apply a little more grease here, there, and everywhere. And then we're going to put that bar back on. It's easy to remove. All I got to do is take off, some small bolts. So the smart guys out there, tell me if I'm doing it right. Flat side up, all the way down. Then just roll that whole thing over. The grease will hold them in on both sides. And hopefully that'll be the way it goes. If not, I can take it off and do it again. Here's the way I determined through my amazing logic how this thing should work. This silver chrome pin that's attached to this frame is the guide. Each one of these with the slot should be centered on that little silver pin. So it's right like that, okay? All the way down. The center of the copper centered on the center pin. All the way down. And that's exactly what I did. Unfortunately, when we got down here, they had used apparently two, they had split one in half or broken half or something, but half of it's missing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put this right there between the two and hope for the best. Same thing on the other end. Just go ahead and line them up with this pin. Silver pin, slot, silver pin, slot, all the way down, starting with the first one. I laid them so the flat side is up. Now I'm going to lay a little grease on top of these things, roll this bar over, and hopefully the grease will hold everything in until I get these bolts in. Well, as you can see, I went ahead and took the old brush and, brushed out a lot of grease here and applied it liberally. I did not spare the horses in terms of lithium grease. Well, that's it, guys. All the buttons are in. That's the only way I could think to do it. One thing I did notice, you can't really tighten these things down really tight. You just got to kind of start from the middle. Kind of work your way out, side to side, gently does it. And otherwise, if you do, the buttons become so hard to push, they'll lock down in this position on you. They'll lock up on you. So already, it's a little bit, it's not quite as loose as it was when I took it apart because there was no grease on it whatsoever. The grease, is kind of, making it a little bit sluggish, but not that big a deal. I mean, they work fine. They work fine. Now, if that's not the way to do it, somebody let me know. On to the next thing. That piece of metal that has all that rust on it that attaches to the front panel that we took off, the one that had the dents in it, it's taken its little sweet time about eliminating the rust. So we're just going to let it set for one more night in the navel jelly. And I've dug out the Tormat selector unit, or the TSU, and we're going to go ahead and this switch mounts up on the side wall on the jukebox on the inside, and it's kind of stiff. It's hard to move. We need to tear that apart and do some work on it. Now's the time. Won't even hardly move at all. This doesn't do too bad, but it's still a little too stiff for my blood. Also, these push buttons here, I cleaned them with that brake fluid and everything, but I don't know, they just feel a little rough. I may have to spring for some of that deoxit, because not because of its ability to clean, but because it has that oil in it. And I think that's probably its biggest plus. I'll get a small can maybe. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call oxidized. Look at that. Man, oh man, oh man. We're going to have to clean that up. I imagine the other side, same way, down the side there. It's going to be a... I don't know, it doesn't look like there's anything down in there. Lucky us. It's all on one side. And this switch right here, I can't even get that thing hardly to switch. And it just doesn't want to budge hardly at all. We'll go ahead and spray them both. Let's see what a little lacquer thinner on an acid brush will do as far as cleaning goes. There we go. Proof in the pudding, people. Proof in the pudding. Look at that. Didn't hardly take any time at all to get those babies clean. That lacquer thinner is just, usually you have to do over this 2 or 3 times, but with the lacquer thinner and the brush. But that's what you do. I mean, considering what you got when you start, you're in good shape when you get done. Let me go ahead and keep scrubbing. Now that looks a lot better, huh? You bet. Just a little bit of lacquer thinner with the brush, and then I gave it a shot of this QD electronic cleaner afterwards. Shine it up, makes it look real good. Now we're going to go ahead and, I cleaned the top surface of this with the lacquer thinner. We're going to go ahead and spray some of that QD electronic cleaner down in there. See what happens. I'll tell you what, I'll just let you watch me do it. No biggie. Maybe it'll loosen this thing up, maybe it won't. Well, it did loosen it up a little. It's a spring-loaded switch. How about that? I didn't know that. I'll probably shoot a little WD-40 down in there too. Some people, they say, well, you shouldn't put WD-40 down and stuff. Yes, I should. Yes, I should. been doing it for years and years and years. Well, one guy on the antique radio forum one time said, well, I put it in something one time. I think it was a volume control knob, and he said it caught on fire. Caught on fire? I wish I'd have been there to see that one. But anyway, that WD-40, I believe, is rated for 5,000 volts. I don't think we have to worry too much about it. And besides, by the time we get around to putting this thing back in the jukebox, it'll probably be pretty much gone anyway. But I want to loosen this up before I break it. Well, I guess we can call that a complete wrap. This is working real good. It's spring-loaded. It works real good, nice and clean. Our little switch here. I'm not exactly certain how to use this, but I'll figure it out or find somebody who can teach me. And then, of course, our switch is working real nice now. This here has a little bit of rust on it. I'm going to go ahead and clean it up a little bit and throw it in the Evap-O-Rust all night long. We're going to call today quits. It's getting a little late. I'm tired. I want to go inside, maybe bake me a potato and put some cheese and onions and stuff on it for Grandma and I and great-grandma and wifey and I. Cook it all up and fill my little belly. Tell you what, before we leave here and head into the house, here's another set of contacts that needs to be cleaned. Boy, they are really muffed up down in there. When you press these buttons on the front, it activates those things. And there's another set over here that have to be cleaned, and they're in bad shape too. So tomorrow, after we come back into the shop, we're going to check the navel jelly situation. And then we're going to, if everything's good, we'll go ahead and strip the paint off that piece of metal and start painting it. And then meanwhile, while it's stripping the paint off, we'll come back out here and see if we can't clean those contacts as well. Everywhere you look on a jukebox this old that has really never been cared for, there's going to be problems. Now is the time to take care of them. Don't put it all back together and then find out later on that, oh, it's totally messed up, you know. No, take your time. This is a project. This is not just, it's just not something we throw together and clean a little here, clean a little there, put a little paint, boom, it's done. No, it doesn't work that way. When you take on a big project like this, and it's big for, you know, just a small-time hobbyist like myself. When you take on a big project, you got to be willing to just stay the course until it's done. And you have to be disciplined enough to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on the project. In particular, you know, in YouTube, I got a whole bunch of people watching me. You know, it'd be terrible if I just sort of, you know, just didn't do a really good job as best I can. Oh, well, I guess we'll see you in the morning, guys. Unbelievably, it's another bright, sunny day. Oh, and the temperature is pretty nice. I'm heading to the shop, but I can only stay for a little while. The daughter's coming over, and we are going to an auction, which is about 20 miles north of where we live. And I don't know if I'll find anything or not. It starts out with a whole bunch of boxes on the outside on the ground, you know. Then after that's all done, I mean, they're lined up like little soldiers, you know, and they go down one row and up the next, and people bid on them. And then they go inside from there. So let's see what we've got in here. And I want to check on that navel jelly, that's for sure. A lot of the rust was gone from the navel jelly, but there's still some in the corners that's really hard and thick and deep. So what do we do about that? Both of these ends are like that. Not so bad on this end. What do we do about that? Well, the first thing we do is we add a little bit more Evap-O-Rust to our little old lunchbox here. Then we take this and stick it down in there and let it set till I get back from the auction. And then hopefully a lot of it will be gone. If not, then we'll let it soak a little longer and then turn around and do the same thing to the other end. Well, since the priority is this big long piece of metal right now, the old cash box had to make way. So we just take it out. It's been soaking all night. Not too bad. Doesn't look bad, but it's got a ways to go. Probably, I think this will probably be about a 3-day soak on that. Anyway, we'll let this soak for a few hours, then we'll flip it around. Alright, while that thing is soaking in the old Evap-O-Rust, I think what we'll do is put a little dielectric grease on these sliders. Not much. You can go to your auto parts store and tell them you want some dielectric grease, and they'll give you a little packet of it. It's not cheap for some reason. I don't quite understand why, but I've had this one packet now for several years, so just kind of take it and brush it on it. You don't have to put a lot, just enough. You can put it on with a toothpick or just about anything you want. Just make sure you take your time, and don't glob it on. You know, you don't need it globbed on. All right, let's put a little more over here. You got to kind of work with it. Normally this is a two-hand deal, but just put it on the sliders up there where the fingers slide. All right, then we'll do the same here. It'll take a couple of hands here. While doing this, it's almost unavoidable to keep from getting a little bit too much here and there while you're doing it. You know, I mean, it's just the way it is because you're dealing with very small stuff. So all you have to do when you're all done, you got it all greased, you can remove the excess by just taking a screwdriver like this or a little toothpick. Wipe it down, just kind of go along the edges like so, just barely scraping, just barely, just let the screwdriver or the toothpick or whatever it is you're using remove it for you. Okay? Sometimes you get a little bit too much on the surface even. Don't worry about it. Just kind of take your screwdriver or toothpick or whatever. Just kind of smooth it out a little bit. That's all you got to do. Now we'll check and see if she works a little better. Oh yeah, that's going real good. As I said, this was spring loaded also. Cool, huh? Now there's a little extra I should have got out between that right there. I may have to take a tissue and wipe that out. Wipe just a little bit out. You don't want a whole bunch of it on there. It's not needed, okay? One more thing on this, actually two more things. I'll show you the second one in a minute. I'm going to take a little bit of sewing machine oil. Just kind of let it drip down in there. And let it work around a little bit. It won't be getting anywhere near the electrical contact, so I'm not really worried about it. And probably a little bit down in here, right where the not too much, just kind of let it drip down there a couple of, come on out of there. There we go. It'll drip on through. Yeah, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. I like that. Okay, what's the second thing? Huh. Well, what do you see right there? Let me zoom in. We have a burn off wire or a broken wire right there. Okay, that's been off quite a while. We're gonna have to strip that back and resolder it. Oh, it just goes on and on. Well, fortunately, I was able to pull enough wire through to get that baby soldered on, and the rest of them all look pretty good. I might put a little bit of liquid tape on a few spots around here, clean it up with alcohol real good, touch it on a couple of the wires. I noticed there's a solder burn right there. I don't know if I did that, or that was done a while ago. I don't think I did that. That looks like it's been done a while. But we can touch that up a little bit. Okay, you know, instead of making this a long video like I predicted, I think what I'm going to do, you guys are going to love this. Take a look at this thing here. Do a little close-up action. I've got a little bit of work. I still haven't cleaned these contacts. Well, I'm not going to bore you showing you how to do that. I've done that a million times. Take a look at this mess in here. This is pretty mangy. Over here we've got quite a bit of rust underneath that counter. What do you say we dismantle this thing? Now I know Brendan's heart just took two extra beats. But you know, I've been looking at it. There's nothing that's adjustable. Everything screws in with a screw. Once you screw it in, I mean, it's not like it has to be adjusted this way or that way. Everything is just anchored in with either a clip like that or a screw. We could take everything off this frame and clean this frame up real good and make it look a whole lot better. I don't know if we can do much with this other stuff, but I don't see anything. Even those contacts down there would remain attached to this. I wouldn't have to take them apart. See, now that is an adjustable setup, if you'll notice. I could leave those right there and then just, you know, remove the screws that hold this bracket. Same thing with this one over here. I don't have to mess with it, you know, getting these points out of adjustment. I think we can do that. I think we can do that. Let's look at the underside. Almost everything is held on with screws and nuts and bolts. Almost everything, even in the front. Just screws holding it on. I think we might be able to pull this off. I'm going to take another look at it real close just to make sure. But I'll tell you what, before we get up to the next video, here's a chance for you guys to vote. People are always saying, well, what do you think? Should I work on this? Should I do that? Should I do this? What do you think? Should we tear this baby apart? You know, just sort of lift everything out of here and get this frame looking a whole lot better and clean and then put it all back together? You know, I can do these things. You can do these things. You just gotta be overconfident about everything. So, let me know what you think. Yes or no. Until next time, I'm going to an auction. This is John.